Hey friendly friends! So Iron Fist on Netflix is super freaking awesome. But also Iron Fist the character is one of the most underrated people in the entire Marvel universe. So I thought it would be a lot of fun to dive deep into his history and origins to kind of get you guys brought up to speed so you can, one, understand the Netflix show a lot better, but also get invested in this super awesome character. So let's do that.
Danny Rand is the son of Wendell Rand, an orphan trained by Orson Randall, a legendary warrior called the Iron Fist, and he later lived in Kunlun, one of the 7 capital cities of heaven. There, Wendell trained more, but eventually left and established a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Years later, Wendell wanted to return to Kunlun, so he led an expedition, bringing along his wife, Danny, and his business partner, Harold Meacham. Well, Meacham was in love with Wendell's wife, so he killed his business partner. Wendell's wife didn't like that, but it doesn't really matter because she was almost immediately eaten by wolves. Danny survived and was found by the immortal citizens of Kunlun. It was there that he followed in his father's footsteps by training in the ways of martial arts by Lei Kung the Thunderer, and eventually became the Iron Fist himself, Kunlun's living immortal weapon. To become the Iron Fist, Danny had to fight an immortal dragon, Shu Lao the Undying, who branded the young warrior with its crest. After defeating Shu Lao, Danny submerged his hands into the dragon's molten heart, which then gave him access to its chi. This grants Danny all sorts of magical powers and properties, but the main takeaway is that he has the ability to focus his chi into his fists until it becomes like unto a thing of iron. Upon becoming the Iron Fist, Danny was presented a choice. He could eat a fruit from the Tree of Immortality and become immortal like the rest of Kunlun, or leave the city entirely to get revenge on the man that killed his dad. Yeah, Danny obviously chose the latter. However, Danny found Meacham a shadow of the man he once was. He had been waiting for Danny to kill him all of these years and wanted it. But Iron Fist showed pity and spared his life. As he was leaving though, a ninja walked in, killed Meacham, and vanished. The businessman's daughter Joy walked in at the exact wrong time and saw this scene, assuming that the Iron Fist had killed her father. Due to this, Joy Meacham hired a bodyguard named the Iron Serpent. He was a rival of Danny's father and also attempted to fight Shu Lao to become the Iron Fist, but failed. Danny was able to clear his name with the help of a couple of private detectives, Colleen Wing and Misty Knight, who together made up the firm Nightwing Ltd. Danny even fell in love with Misty, which led to a long-term relationship. One of their clients, Jaren Hogarth, was actually the lawyer of Danny's dad and informed the Iron Fist of his inheritance and actually helped him obtain it. 55% of the Rand Meacham stock. This instantly made Danny a billionaire. Of course, it's hard to talk about Iron Fist without mentioning his best friend, Luke Cage, aka Power Man, the hero for hire. Believe it or not, the two did not get along at first, but they grew closer after Danny helped Luke get the evidence he needed to prove his innocence of the crime that initially landed him in jail. Eventually, Luke brought Iron Fist in on his business, turning Hero for Hire into the now iconic Heroes for Hire. It was here that the two really bonded, and they became such close friends that Luke's eventual daughter Danielle is actually named after Danny. They did some gigs mostly as bodyguards, but they had to disband after Danny came down with radiation poisoning, went to Kunlun to cure it, but was actually kidnapped by aliens, replaced with an evil clone, and then said clone cured a dying kid, but accidentally turned him into a superpowered adult for a couple of pages. During this time, the kid punched the clone in an attempt to wake him up, but killed it. Luke Cage walked in and was accused of murder and ran away. A few years later, Iron Fist was impersonated by the shape-shifting Super Skrull and then rescued from the aliens who kept him alive in a pod by Namor the Submariner. Because comics. So now that Iron Fist is kind of back alive after he was supposedly dead because of all the aforementioned confusion, not really much happened with him except for his powers being stolen and reobtained a couple of times. But the next big moment in his history was when Rand Meacham became a subsidiary of Oracle Inc., a charitable organization created by Namor the Submariner. As a part of this, Danny went ahead and reformed the Heroes for Hire until Namor sold the entire company to Stark Fujikawa a little over a year later. Now, many have pointed out that Iron Fist never took part in the superhuman Civil War, where the superhero community fought over having to register their secret identities. Well, believe it or not, he was in fact there, but was actually posing as Daredevil while Matt Murdock was out of the country. As Daredevil, Danny worked with Captain America in the Secret Avengers as an anti-registrant. After the war, Danny continued to not register, but he still had a publicly known identity. This is because before the Civil War, Danny was registered with the United States as a living, lethal weapon. In fact, Danny was able to throw this in Iron Man's face when he accused Danny of unsanctioned vigilante work. To further add insult to injury, Danny was secretly using his fortune to fund Luke Cage and his group of unregistered Avengers, leading to this amazing scene. Danny eventually met his predecessor in the trainer of his father, Orson Randall, who gave Danny the Book of the Iron Fist. In addition to hosting the history of every Iron Fist, it also contained all of their martial arts and techniques, which Danny studied and perfected seemingly almost instantly. With Orson and the other immortal weapons, Danny managed to stop the terrorist organization Hydra, who was not only taking over his company, but was also trying to take over Kunlun. Afterwards, Danny decided to turn his company into a large non-profit charity. A big part of this is the Thunder Dojo. It gives low-income kids a place to come after school, where they're taught kung fu, tutored in school, and fed. In addition, Danny does some superheroing on the side for non-profit as well. Then, Danny knocked up Misty Knight and proposed to her. Unfortunately though, Danny's chi gave Misty a false positive. She wasn't pregnant. This is what partly drove them apart and called off the engagement. Iron Fist then decided to join the New Avengers, and in their first major battle, he got abducted by the godlike Agamotto and came back with a spiffy white and gold costume. This wardrobe change was because Iron Fist was sort of linked to Agamotto, even after the being's death. This power even possessed Danny one time, until he was taken out by one of War Machine's guns, which was mystically boosted by Doctor Strange. This brings us to the Shadowland event, where Iron Fist teamed up with a bunch of other street-level heroes to take on Daredevil, who was possessed by a demon. It was also during this that Danny took on Victor Alvarez, the new Power Man, as an apprentice. See, Victor has the ability to absorb chi from the environment around him, making perfect sense for the duo to stick together. Fast forward to the Avengers vs. X-Men event, where the two teams were fighting over a girl named Hope Summers, who was about to be the host of a cosmic entity known as the Phoenix Force. Iron Fist actually played a minor yet significant role in all of this. Obviously, he sided with the Avengers, but he brought Hope to Kunlun to teach her about how the Phoenix played a large part in the history of the Iron Fist. It was a neat way of tying in two big Marvel mythologies. The New Avengers were disbanded after Avengers vs. X-Men, and we get the not very good or important Iron Fist the Living Weapon series. This book made the Iron Fist symbol look like this, and gave Danny steampunk punch gauntlets. The only real lasting effect that it had on the world of Iron Fist was that he got a new tracksuit style costume, and his teacher Lei Kung was killed. I do not recommend this book. Iron Fist came back into the spotlight when he convinced Luke to get the Heroes for Hire back together, again, and they've mostly been taking on a gang called the New Pride, led by the newly resurrected Alex Wilder of Runaways fame. This more or less brings you up to speed for its upcoming new comic series, which is about to start at the time of this recording.
So yeah, Iron Fist is super freaking cool, but he has had his ups and downs. But I want to ask you guys a quick question. Who has been your favorite character on all of the Marvel Netflix shows? Let me know down there in the comments. And hey, if you like this video, then you'll probably be happy to know that I have made a lot more for all of the various comic book TV shows. So feel free to give those a watch, give me a like, a subscribe, leave a comment down below, pick up one of these t-shirts, check out my Patreon, other things that I'm supposed to be shilling right now. But anyway, hope you had fun, hope this has been a good video. I'll see you guys next time.